All right, so this is my fourth attempt to make a short video about my bike review. Why I want to do it? Well, because it has been modified quite extensively, so it's about time. Why the fourth attempt? Well, the first footage I lost it. The second one I can't remember what happened. The third one was too long. The fourth one actually was yesterday. No, the third one was yesterday with Andrew. And I've tried to wrap it up, tried to make it quick, and we end up having 54 minutes long video. No one is going to watch this. Everyone is going to get bored. That's wrong. So today I really try to wrap it up. And the idea is that I'm going to split it in two sections because there's just too much stuff on the bike that I can wrap it within 10 minutes. It's just literally physically not possible to tell you everything about the bike in 10 minutes. So I'm going to do the main things, the bike itself, and then the navigation tower, the nav tower, because there is a lot going on here. There is quite a lot of development, which is still going, and I've done 2 races now. I've done one hard enduro, I can call it, for the type of the bike, 24-hour endurance race, started at night and then ended a day after in the afternoon, called Down to Dusk 24 hours. This was actually 20th anniversary. Yeah, that's my number. You can see how when I went because they have the classifications online, and I took second place. I'm very proud of this. No, I'm not, because it was 2 of us in the class. So I was second in the class, second and the last. So all right, that's funny. However, the second race I did, it was a Sweet Lumber Baja Rally Championship. I've done the last round, which consists in 3 races, because they have 3 events. Each event contains 3 races, 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. I think 2 times 3 hours on Saturday and 1 4 hours on Sunday is a great event. It's absolutely awesome. That's my number 76. This one I did better, to my surprise. It's like this is my stuff. I've never done it, never drove the bike, this kind of bike, so quick on the gravel and all the stuff. Results were good, really good. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to brag about it, because we're thinking, oh, you're growing big head. No, who cares? That was just a training. Results were good. I'm very happy. The bike performed both absolutely awesome and very bad at the same time. So let me start with this. Right, exhaust is an Akrapovic, sorry for that pronunciation. Is a titanium one, carbon tip, carbon brackets, custom link pipe, because obviously it doesn't exist one for the silencer that does not belong to this bike. It has a catalytic converter inside, it's CE approved, so it's road legal, well, ish, if you put a DB killer on, but arguably it is road legal. Now, the standard bracket, as you know, this bent so many times, I've been in back, blah, blah. Eventually, I end up making this another bracket, which is welded to this metal section there. And it does a job beautifully. I've dropped the bike many times on this side, badly. Did not bend each of these brackets, none of them at all. You can see from the exhaust, yeah, it was going through some crap with me. It's absolutely fine. So I'm very happy with this. You know, that's all it needs. I think the better exhaust is, I'm trying to give this, you know, it's difficult to keep this video short because there's so much stuff to go about it, even the exhaust. So I've seen exhausts that go, I'm trying to, sorry for the shaking camera, one hand. So they put this exhaust here behind this bracket, which is hidden. So if you drop the bike, you're not gonna hit the exhaust and you're not gonna bend it. And I think that's a great idea. And I think that's actually a better solution than, I'll show you something else, than what I have. However, if you see a comparison between these 2 exhausts, silencers, you know, that's ridiculous. Mine is probably more than twice the size. Apart the quality, because this is Chinese stuff, you know, and don't take nothing from the Chinese guys. They're doing great stuff, you know, for the money you pay. that's awesome, because that was like 50-70 pounds. It's very cheap, it's stainless, it's actually very good. That's probably 700 pounds. So, you know, that's good for what it costs. That's good for what it costs, but 10 times the money, twice as good. So there's a big argument there. However, the reason why I prefer my exhaust, even though I drop the bike and there's a massive risk of bending stuff, is because first of all, you have to, okay, this is not gonna be short, I'm sorry. Why of this bike? I used to race on the road bikes back in the day, long time ago. Forget about it. Then I had lots of issues in my health, blah blah. Came back, bikes, forget about it. Then this happened. I grew up with the dream of Dakar. So we all did. I know. Probably most of the bike riders dream about doing the Dakar race, including me. And I grew up with Peter Hansel racing on the XTZ 850 through the Dakar. And the look of the Dakar bikes, big, lots of fuel. And the exhaust on those bikes, if you remember, if you don't have a look, they were all like this. Back, fairly big, shooting up. And this is exactly what I wanted to reproduce, and this is exactly what it looks like. But also because it's big, this silencer, the noise is absolutely beautiful. It's deep, not rasp, not too loud, less loud than this, obviously much more silenced because it's bigger exhaust. But it just sounds beautiful. I'm not shitting you, it's not just my opinion. Obviously the bike should please me, and I like the noise that this engine produces with this exhaust, but every event I turn up, everyone is bragging about how good this bike sounds like. These 7s, they sound good, but this particular one, so I'm happy with the result. I really am. Okay, so the exhaust is fine, blah blah. I'm not gonna, how long? Jesus, 7 minutes just on exhaust. I'm sorry for this, it's not gonna be short. Okay, from this side quickly, brakes, I already covered this in previous videos. So the brake is all standard, standard master cylinder, standard caliper. I still have the ABS sensor and the plate, so the bike reads everything. So I don't have any dodgy lights on the dash, no errors. But I bypass the ABS pump. There is a brake line from the pump straight to the caliper, so it works like old school bike, on dirt bikes, you know, straight to the back there. There's no electronics involved. If you see, this is one of the most important modifications you can do on a T7. Now, if you have one of these bikes, and if you didn't have it, but you probably heard about the problems with the rear brake that gets spongy, not powerful enough, all the stuff. No problems with the pump, no problems with the calipers, no problems with nothing. The problem is the spring behind there, one of the problems, the spring behind there is too weak. And sometimes this brake does not come back all the way up, so it's always engaged. And what happens, the oil doesn't do in time to recover what you push to the caliper, and this gets spongy and spongy and spongy. And eventually you end up with no brakes, or very weak brakes, or just like, it feels like no bleeded or something. Bit of elastic here, but this is what I did just to keep this up. So when it returns back up and it's fine. I know this looks very dodgy, but it's a simple solution. It's just a pair of elastics. If they break, you replace them. It's a temporary fix, but it really works, you know. So try it and see what you think. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, I'm not gonna put a piece of ugly elastic on my brand new shiny bike. Well, if you keep your bike shiny, you're probably not using this brake properly anyway. So yeah. This is not advice for you, probably. These, I've seen a lot of people spending loads of money on those brakes, rally ones, wide ones. These are good enough. These are the Chinese knockoff from eBay for the YZ250 and 450. They fit almost perfectly. You just have to notch that bit of there to clear this bolt, and apart that, absolutely spot on. Is a huge improvement, because especially if you're riding in the mud sections, because all the mud clears there and you get plenty of grip. And yeah, this is very good. Pegs, they're here only temporary because I took my wife for a coffee the other day, so she was like, well, where's my pegs? Like, honey, this is, a bike is for one person, you know, passenger is optional. And then I risk it to be single again. So I put the paper bags back on the bike. But no, yes, I'm gonna remove them again because you don't want anything here because you catch your leg or whatever. You don't want extra weight, extra bits that is not necessary for racing. So I'm gonna remove them soon. Okay, so before I go on the suspensions and all that stuff and the wheels, because we're on this side, I want to show you this. This is, you see this plate? T7 doesn't come with this plate. When I ordered the Buono front suspension, the whole kit, I also ordered the frame stiffener plates. So first of all, they take, obviously they stiffen the frame, but also if you pay attention in T7s, the engine has engine mounts that are not used fully, not all of them. With their brackets, they use all the engine mounts and they bolt them back to the frame. So that gets everything stiffer because the frame uses the engine as a stress point. So that helps that also. In additional, well, maybe that's additional, but this is the main thing, I guess. This plate here gets the frame from this section here to the front of the frame, and in the middle grabs the engine. So again, makes everything much stiffer, and it does exactly in the same way. On the opposite side of the bike, there you go. Is a very good piece of a kit, and it fits. Everything fits beautiful. Fits fairly easily, but everything is precise. So I'm very happy with the job they did at Buono Racing, and they spent a lot of time to develop this bike. So yeah, stuff works. Do I feel the frame to be stiffer? No, I do not. I spent not enough time on the bike racing to feel these kind of differences yet. Maybe when I'm gonna push it on the limit, if I remove the frame stiffness, I will feel a difference. For now, no, I don't spend enough time on it. Okay, let's go to the important stuff. The wheels. Wheels, I bought this SM Pro Platinum reinforced wheels for the T7. The reason for that are two. First, they are stronger in every way, you know, from the bearings to the rims and everything. But also the second reason is that this wheel is much narrower than the standard one. Standard one, I think, is 4 inch, 4.5 inch. I can't even remember now. Who cares? This is about these rims. These are 2.5 inch wide. But that means you can use a proper enduro tires, proper race tires. You can use mousses. Because if the rim is too wide, there's too much space inside, you're not able to use mousses. And also, I didn't find any rim locks for the 4-inch rim. It means you can't really lower the pressure too much because the rim will slip in the tire or the tire will slip on the rim, and that's the problem. So switching to 2.5-inch rim is a huge improvement if you're using the bike off-road. Huge. Also, another improvement is that apart the fact they can use the rim lock and mousses and all that stuff, is that narrower the rim, it will make this tire much more curved. I mean, this is the Michelin Tracker, and they're not very curved here, and they're flat in comparison to other ones. But this one now you can see it does this curve. And I had this tire fitted to my old wheel, 4-inch wheel, and it was nearly flat. Now, that results in the bike handling, massive improvement now. Because before, the bike, okay, this is my sensation when I had before. The bike before, it kind of struggled to go in the corner. It was lazy to go in. It kind of offered a resistance to go in. It wasn't keen to go in the corner. Now, once you're in the mid corner, you always wanted to go straight, way too quick. You kind of fight the bike to stay in. And if you want to do some kind of corrections, like braking or anything, it always tries to go up. So you end up going wide on the corners, no matter what. And it was a struggle. Every time it was like, Jesus, I'm probably bad. I can't ride the bike anymore and all the stuff. So I can't get it. I really struggled to keep the bike in the corner, stay there, do a corrections. Even on exit, it was like, nah, this is not right. Change that wheel, completely different bike. It's not me, it's you. Honestly, it was that situation. I thought it was me, but it wasn't. Now the bike is quick to go in the corner, stays in the corner, can do corrections in the corner. everything is better. Even just exit just is beautiful. It changed the bike completely. So if you're thinking about doing that, that's money worth spending, because it's a huge improvement. Apart, obviously, you have mousses, so I don't know if you can see it. I put the camera here, but I don't know if you ever rode on the mousses, but it's like riding on a flat. Oh Jesus, sorry for that, but the camera doesn't want to stay in there. No, it won't stay here. Oh, I'll do it with one finger. There you go, look. You see, this is one finger, look how soft this is. Same for the front. There you go. And on the back, bear in mind, I have a desert mousse. A desert mousse is bigger and stiffer than the normal enduro mousse. I had the enduro mousse, and it went fine for one event, and then it went too sloppy, it was too soft for this bike. So the desert mousse, though, proves himself to be very, very good. Before you ask how it performs on the tarmac, on the black, including wet, surprisingly very well. What I found out that the faster you go, the more aggressive you go on the tarmac, the better they perform. There is more grip in these tires now than it was with the tubes, even on low pressure. You say, okay, but you're running pretty much like on flat tires. Does it feel a bit spongy, all the stuff? Well, yes, only if you're running slow, but it's not tragic. It's very okay. There's nothing dramatic about it. As you increase the speed, it really feels good. I can ride this bike. Not like a supermoto, because it's not a supermoto, but same style. It really gives you confidence and tons of grip. I'm really amazed how grippy these tires are. So the back is Michelin Tracker. The front is Michelin Enduro Hard. Enduro Hard doesn't mean it's a hard component of the tire. It means it's designed for the hard terrain, like what we have rallies here. The stuff we did usually with the rally race I did, the Baja Championship. You have loose gravel and the hard compound on the bottom, hard terrain, very hard. So it's quite slippery, and it didn't rain for a long time, so it was dusty and very hard. So that's what this tire is for, I think. Hey, it did good, it did great, and it does very good on the tarmac as well. Suspensions, let me grab the lights quickly. I want to do a quick video, but it's not possible. There you go, Rally Ride. This is Tractive shock absorber. It has high speed and low speed. It's very good, and I'll come back to this shock in a minute, because this is actually the one that causes all the problems that I had the last rides. But let me get back to this in a second. Sprockets, I have a Boano race pad. This is a 48, was it 48? I can't even remember. Yeah, 48 tooth, and I got 15 tooth on the front. This is very, very short. Originally is 16 on the front, and I got a 15. So yes, the reason for that is because I supposed to actually today go to train with the Waters off-road school. I'm not going. Various reasons. He changed the plans, plus it was fine because I got so much work to do anyway, so it's good. But in enduro, I find that is very good because you barely use first gear, you use second, even up the hills. If it gets very, very technical, very gnarly, then you can use first gear, and it's very short and it's very difficult to stall the bike. And I found it extremely good. The reason why it's good not using the first gear, because you don't go through the neutral, because it's in the middle of all the shakiness, what's happening in enduro, all the stuff. It's very easy to go through the neutral and stay in neutral. So first, second, you think you're going, and you have one chance, and in neutral. There you go, you're going down. You come down the hill or slowing down from the first, you put in second, and you hit the neutral, you stay in neutral. Instead of gear, you're in neutral, and you're in problems, deep poo-poo. And these bikes, because they're so heavy, you don't flick them around, you don't do as much as easily corrections as on a dirt bike, so you can't really do much mistakes, and that is, it allows you to do mistakes easier. So that's why it's good to don't go between second and first, and having very short gears allows you to doing that. So I think this is a small improvement. So okay, before we go to the front suspension, which is one of the most important things on the bike, the bash plate, this is the new one I bought. And I think I've done a mistake. I wanted to get this one because I wanted to keep my my cage to protect the bike, because I fell off quite often. Unfortunately, I have to cut this off to get, because that's the mount, you see, for my cage. I had to remove in order to put this on, so I have to chop this off, blah blah, anyway, to mount the cage. I wanted Paolo's GP Mucci bash plate, which is very strong, it's very good one, but it's expensive, and I was like, you know what, I give this one a chance. It looks like I can mount it without removing my cage, without modifications, because I didn't have the time. Turns out I had to do it anyway. So yeah, I rushed with this decision, and I do like the way this is built, but this is very soft aluminium. They designed this one fairly good enough. I like it, but the quality of aluminium is not good. I mean, this, I had to hammer this in to allow the wheel to travel, because obviously I have nearly 300 millimeters of travel from the front suspension. My tire goes further up and towards the engine than the standard, so this will catch on the tire. I had to move it, and this literally took three hits with the hammer to bend this much. This bike weighs 200 kilograms, will not last a long time, so it was a mistake. But let's give it a go. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe we'll do a good job. That's the last one there, is all mangled. I'm gonna show you in a minute. And again, one last thing before I go to the suspension, the front suspensions, is when you order from Boano the Kayaba 48mm fork kit, they give you the brackets to move the radiator back. I still have to put the zip ties there, as you can see, because obviously I removed the cage, so I was working on the bike, that's why it's not on, because this is more back than it should be, again to clear the distance between the tire and the radiator, because it will hit otherwise. What else? I think that's it. We can go on the front. So the front, as I already said, I have the Boano front end, not just the forks. The beauty is that what they developed, Ivan said they've done probably, I think, 7 or 8 triple clamps with a different geometry to make the bike riding better, performing better off-road, looking for performance, not comfort again. And this is, I think, the 7th one. They come out with something really good. I like the way it rides. I like the way it looks. It's very strong. It's oversized. This is proper for this bike. So your geometry is different. Your balance position are different. This is slightly closer to the rider, which in my case is absolutely awesome, because I'm sure that's. So I can now grab my. There you go. Okay, apart the rally seat. The rally seat not only allows you to stay higher, which you stay more comfortable, and but also allows you to go through the front, because you see the profile is this way. If this is lower, it also is more backwards. This being higher, I can sit more forward. So from here, you see my arms? I can stay here, and my arm is bent. So I have more movement. When you go in the corner, like this or like that, I don't have to lean forward like I did before. And it was very awkward, because you have to lean forward, get your leg out. It's like, this is not natural. This doesn't feel right. Now, the bike changed completely. Sit, balance, closer to the rider, different bike. I can get in the corners just way better. Before it was very awkward. I struggled to get a right technique to go in the corner. Now it feels natural, like a big dirt bike, which is incredible. So small changes, but they change the bike completely. So if you're thinking about getting the suspensions and all the stuff from Boano, when you look at the price, you're like, oh, this is a lot of money. You're gonna think this is a lot of money until you try the bike. You try the bike, you'll be like, oh no, that actually was cheap for what it is. You know, it's so much improvement. It's awesome. What else? So yeah, the forks themselves, they 48mm Kayaba. They use brand new ones, no second hands or anything. They give you the adapters for the standard calipers, so you can use these ones. You can use, I guess, YZW WR450 calipers if you want to without adapters, with a single discs, whatever. They give you adapters and mounts for the low fender. This is very strong, although it took some beating already, as you can see. But the size of the stones was flying in my direction was incredible, and I'm gonna tell you all about it in a minute. Also, they give you the braided lines, the whole system to the pump. From the pump, you have your standard pipe, braid hose, but from the, there you go, from the, I'm not sure if you can see it with this slide, let me just check. I have to tap the screen of the camera, there you go. Yeah, you can see something. So the new hose goes from the ABS pump to there, and then obviously to your calipers, and it works very, very good. Now, there is one thing to say. If you get SM Pro Platinum wheels, they will not fit this fork. I know it's so strange because everything is for the T7, but not really. Because Boano gives you a new axle for the front wheel, for the standard front wheel, and that's fine. And it's very beautiful, it's machined, it's much stronger, blah blah. SM Wheel Pros, SM Pro Platinum wheels, they give you wheels with the reinforced bigger bearings in the wheels. So they give you kind of like adapters for the smaller diameter axle. But Boano, obviously, because they give you their own spaces here, all you have to do, I don't know if you can see it, maybe from the bottom here, you need this little bit more of space here, and removing a little bit from that side. That's all had to be done, but obviously straight away they will not fit. But now obviously we have everything just reinforced, from the axle to the bearings to the wheel to everything, and this front wheel is just incredibly strong. Everything is stronger on this, so you can really, push it and don't worry too much about it. Now, how does it perform, the front forks? It's, in comparison to standard, is incredible. First time I went out, I've done a couple of bits that was like, oh shit, this is gonna be bottom end, this is gonna shoot me out, it's gonna be bad. Not even flinch, it was like, that's all, really? So the limit of the bike at the front is just incredibly higher, much higher than standard. It's not even a comparison, it's completely different bike. The geometry feels different. For some reason, it feels both more agile on the front, more easy to go in a corner, but at the same time, more stable. Go figure. I believe a little bit because of the bars closer to the rider, so when you pull, you pull with a different geometry on the front, so you make it be more stable. But again, this is speculations. They've done lots of development. They know better what they did, why it works. But the result is incredible. It's very good. Hey, I paid every single penny. Had no discount for this, folks. I'm not bragging about it to make it publicity. They're just that good. Simple. But now let's go to the back, because if I had tractive modification on the standard forks, this bike probably would be all right. But because I have very much better front, the back causes me problems. Not because it's a bad shock absorber, absolutely not. It's absolutely great. But the settings are completely wrong. It's way too hard. I have 85 kilogram spring, and I always felt it was too stiff. I was like, the sag is okay, everything is perfect, and everyone was like, yeah, this is exactly what you need. Well, yes and no, because I guess people had more experience with these bikes, travel and kind of adventures. You put lots of stuff, lots of luggage on the back, or misses. And that being said, when I show you my misses, so we have more weight on the bike and bags and whatever. It feels incredible. It feels very good. You have very good control when you do wheelies. It's great. Enduro, it was still okay, although some of the jumps, some of the rough stuff, it was like, it feels something's not right on the back. But maybe it's me. Maybe I have to adjust. Maybe just me being shit. Turns out, no, I was feeling something, I was feeling right that something was wrong. It was just too stiff on the spring, not on the hydraulic braking, just on the spring. So I spoke with Ivan at Boano, and he told me, like, look, on this, we had the same problem, blah, blah. You need a softer spring than people think, and you need a 75 kilogram spring, which is like the standard one. I cannot put a standard spring on this shock because it's bigger diameter. The shock itself is bigger inside, so I cannot. So I've ordered it through Rally Ride with John. John is a great guy. He's probably like an old school seller. He's a passionate guy. He still rides the bike. He does it for passion primarily, and then runs the business out of his passion. Exactly what I do. So I appreciate that very much. And he's always very helpful. This is exactly the people you want to run these kind of businesses. So spoke with him and said, look, I want that kind of spring. I explained the problem. He's like, yeah, I got you, makes sense. I get you a 75 kilogram spring from Tractive, and that should sort the problem out. Also, we have to change the length of the shock a little bit because you can't do it. And also another thing, because you know that T7 has very high angle on the swing arm, and that is good, but also bad. It's good for traction, and I've paid attention when I've done the enduro race. This bike goes up the hills incredibly well. It just grips. It looks for the grip all the time. It's very good. It's incredible. Honestly, I'm just starting in this game, and I've seen guys on a dirt bike struggle through some very dodgy hills, and she just went up. It was like, this is definitely not me. This is definitely the bike. So that's good. However, the bad thing about it, when you're in speed and lots of small bumps or whatever, the increased angle of the swing arm doesn't really help, because I guess it moves forth and back a little, and it changes the geometry a little bit too quick because of that angle. If this was a bit more flat, it would be much more neutral in speed on the bumps. So that's why it's very sensitive on the settings on the rear shock, and you want a bit softer, probably because of that. Again, even at Buono, they've done the research, they've tested the bike for 2-3 years, and they come up with that because they sorted the problem. So I believe, that's the way to do it. And it confirms exactly what I was thinking when I was studying the bike. What I've seen what they did, and it's very clever, is to make the bike longer on the back. So move the rear tire, the rear wheel, as far the back as possible. And I had it pretty much all the way up because I had the biggest sprocket on the front, still on the standard chain size, so would not allow me to go back. The bigger the sprocket takes more space, you move the tire forward. So I went the opposite that it should be. What it should be is to move it back as much as possible. So I've ordered 2 links longer chain on the back, and I'm gonna modify the swing arm. I'm gonna remove some of this material here to allow me to move the axle on the back, to move through the back, to make it as long as possible. That will increase me the travel of the wheel itself, because the further down, the more travel. Simple. It's gonna be more sensitive on the shock. It's going to be slightly softer, and I think it's just going to improve what we're trying to sort out. Now, this is not just me. I spoke with Caproni team, with Paolo at Caproni. Paolo, yes, he's Paolo. They have massive experience in the Dakar. They do Africa race pretty much from the beginning, and they only do it on the big bikes, twin cylinder bikes. They done it on KTM 950, beautiful bike. They've developed something incredible. Dry weighs 165 kilograms, so that tells you everything. Well, a lot, not everything. Then they've built with GP Mucci, with Paolo Caproni, Paolo GP Mucci, they've built a T7 all completely designed for the Dakar. And I spoke with him and I said, look, the bike is great in enduro, but on the dunes, on speed, we still have a problem with the rear end, with the shock absorber. We're doing a lot of experiments. I'm still not happy 100% with it because we have that problem. And I didn't understand exactly what I knew from the geometry. Was like, I spoke with him about the geometry when I studied the bike. I didn't felt it, but the last race when I done speeds, I'm talking 75, 85, rough terrain, and I felt it. My problem was amplified from the wrong settings on the race shock, from the back wheel being way too forward and all the stuff, but I definitely felt it. I know exactly what they mean. So we're gonna try to fix that. If I fix that 90%, I'll be more than happy because that'll be good enough for me. So that is one thing you want to know about T7. So enduro stuff, slower stuff, technical, absolutely beautiful. When you start pushing at like speed, that could be problematic, and it's not horrible because it can be fixed. There's nothing drastic to be done to get it fixed. It just needs a proper setting on the back shock and make it longer on the back, and I think that's gonna sort everything out. I think this is it for the bike for now. There's more things. Yeah, I got the DNA air filter and a couple of things, but you're probably not interested in that. Bike boosters, levers, I already covered them before. They never break, this Chinese stuff. This is awesome. This is incredible. They only 35 quid and they just awesome. They adjust in the length, they adjust in the distance, they bend down way, they bend up if you crash. And in enduro, I don't like hand protections anyway. I don't like them. I don't feel comfortable with them. I remove them every time I do any sort of enduro stuff or training. I feel much better. Rallies, you need them. If you didn't have them, I would have broken my fingers many times for the stones of the size of my fist. I'm not talking small stones, proper stuff. But I'm gonna cover that in a minute when I'm gonna cover you in the next video and then after, because that's another game. So yeah, and obviously you fail a lot of times when you're training, especially enduro with this kind of bike, and this never failed, never broke one of them. I have two spare levers here anyway, these ones, and I have another two spare levers there. They're with me from the first day I got the bike, the standard ones, just in case. Yeah, I know it's too much, but hey, there you go. So I think this covers all from the bike. I know this video is already getting long, and so I'm gonna try to keep it short. Last thing, I always bragged about how good the ABS is on the bike, and it is. If you don't push it too much, the front stays. Remove the back and the front stays, and it's a great combination because you can lock the back anytime you want, no problems. You can leave the front and it works very, very good. However, the last race, the enduro race I've done, the Down to Dusk, some bits was gnarly. It was down the hill, one of them dirt bikes, they weigh 100 kilograms. They really was going down, there was no stopping. It was it was scary steep, slippery and all the stuff. And a couple of times my ABS, my front brakes, they give up. You can hear we're just trying to compensate and working. You can see you can hear the pump buzzing and doing a hard job, and eventually twice gave up. And I gave up in the worst case scenario. I had to drop the bike on the side to stop me from going down full speed with no brakes. Not saying completely no brakes, but too fast. And then that would be very bad. That would be hospital because that was bad on the bottom. So yes, it is good till you really, really push it. I'm gonna remove it. I'm probably gonna stay with the twin calipers and twin discs because I like the feedback. They just feel great. Maybe if I try the single disc, I'll be happy too. But I use the bike on the road sometimes as well. I want as much force, as much braking force as possible, so I'm gonna keep it. All right, let me finish this video here because I don't want you to go to bed and sleep because it's too boring. And I'm gonna charge the battery on the GoPro because it's going bad, and I'm gonna do a quick review on the navigation tower in comparison, the old one in comparison to the standard one. I'm going to weight his, I'm going to weigh them, both of them. I'm going to show you how it's made, blah, blah, blah. And then the second video is going to be interesting for Marcus from Everything Tenere. Everything Tenere is his YouTube channel. And he was asking about, he did a reinforcement for his NAFTA. He was asking about mine. He's like, okay, so this is for you, Marcus. The next one, you're gonna be interested in that, and yeah, see you soon.